Hey everyone, welcome to a new video series on GitHub tutorials. Today we're going to be talking about what GitHub is and do a high level overview, and we're going to be talking about the common use cases of GitHub and basically get your feet wet with a couple projects, repositories, and running a few commands on the command line. So without further ado, let's just jump right in and let's get a high level overview. For GitHub, essentially what GitHub is a version control system. So what that means is that basically if you have a lot of different people working on a project, you want to be able to maintain all the different versions and be able to control when somebody makes a change. You want to be able to track what changes they made to the project. You want to be able to track when they made those changes so that if anything goes wrong, you can just go back in time and essentially fix the problem. So let's draw a common scenario. So you have two or more people working on a project. Oh, this is a printer. Two or more people working on a project, and essentially they want to post all their code. They want to share it together because they're working on a big project and they work on separate parts of this big project. And so they use several different applications like GitHub or Bitbucket or other version control systems, but they pretty much do the same thing. They basically manage the different changes that every single person makes, right? So here's GitHub. Let's increase the size of this and let's make it white. All right, so this is GitHub. And essentially you have three different machines, and I'll tell you why I'm using a double arrow in a little bit. But essentially every single person has their own set of code, their own code base, their own local version of the code on their machines, and there's also another version of it on the cloud, or I guess on the GitHub repository. I don't know why I keep saying on the cloud. Everyone says the cloud. It's not really, I guess it's the cloud. Okay. So here is everyone's code. Copy, paste, paste. Everyone has their own version. Code v1, 2.0. So this would be 2.0, and this would be 3.0, right? And so what you would do, or somebody that's working on a project, they would make some changes onto the code. They would basically put it up to the repository on GitHub. Everyone would put up all their code. So let's say they grab all this code. Can I grab everything? Oh, you guys get the idea. So you basically just get all of these. Why can't I grab all of them? It's really annoying. Whatever. You grab every single one of these code snippets or different changes to the repository, their local code base, and you basically push it all up onto GitHub. And so you just do this. You push everyone up here, and they all have their code. Why is this so difficult today? All right. There we go. Code. Okay, cool. Whatever, you get it. This is that one, and this is this one. There we go. So everyone's code's here, and then GitHub's task is to say, okay, I'm gonna merge all these different codes, get code bases together, and then form one large container, I guess. So this is all the code coming together, pretty much. And so GitHub is in charge of making sure there's no conflicts with the code base, with different people's codes, and they just it executes one final version of it. So let's just put this little arrow here. Okay, cool. So GitHub gets all these different pieces of code together, and then it gives you a final code project, final code version. Cool. And so this final code version, when everyone's done, they push up all their changes. They want to pull down this final code version, right? So they have the latest updated version of the code base, which makes sense, right? Because if you're working on a project and somebody works on one part, somebody else works on the other part, and you work on the third part, essentially you want to be able to get the final version when everyone's parts are all together and test it and then add more parts. That's just basically the development timeline and how it works. So on the next video, we're going to be talking about creating a new repository, creating one of these new GitHub projects, committing code to the GitHub repository, making changes, and then being able to pull those changes down onto your local machine. So stay tuned and enjoy.